I'm Kevin Schrum from the Lebanon County Mental Health and Intellectual Disabilities Early Intervention Program. And with me today are Phyllis Holtry from the Community Action Partnership, and as you know, Jim Donmoyer from the Drug and Alcohol Commission. We thank you for the opportunity to come in today to talk about the Human Services Block Grant. As you know, we've discussed this option for a number of years. We actually applied several years ago, but we weren't selected as one of the Human Services Block Grant counties that the state was approving at that point. So this year, the Commonwealth has opened the Human Services Block Grant to all counties, and we spent a considerable amount of time meeting and discussing the pros and cons of the Human Services Block Grant and what it means for counties. And we are the three departments that would, in our opinion, benefit from the Human Services Block Grant. So we're here today to ask the commissioners to approve our recommendation to participate in the Human Services Block Grant. What the block grant does, it allows us to shift certain funding streams within each of our departments in such a way that we better serve the citizens of the community and more efficiently and more effectively use those funds among our departments. An example might be, I think, Drug and Alcohol had a year where they had some leftover dollars, about $70,000, I believe.
Yeah, we had, last year actually, we had Act 152 monies still unspent to the tune of about $70,000. And Act 152 is specific, and you have to send those funds back that you don't use. So that situation could have been avoided if we were a block grant. We could have shifted money to, let's say, Kevin's department where he was overspent. So it's an ability to share money amongst the three departments.
Or it could have been shifted to your homeless assistance program, for example. So it allows us to use it in the way that best suits our community without sending it back to the states. And it's another opportunity for us to work together more collaboratively on a local level. So we see it as a win-win for the county. The downside, we believe, is there may be a little bit more paperwork involved, but we had consulted with the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, and are speaking with the representative there. She told us that she has not heard from a single county that's in it already who has not been pleased with the outcome and what it's done for their particular county. So we consulted with our advisory boards, got a number of questions and feedback from those folks as stakeholders, and I know in my department they were all, again, they had questions, but in the end they were all supportive of moving forward with the recommendation to the county commissioners to pursue the block grant. I think Jim had the same experience.
Yes, my advisory board, 3 people I believe responded positively. They had no questions, but they were in support of what we were attempting to do.
And I don't know if you got any feedback.
I got, yeah, two members of my advisory board responded back positively.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry.
I was going to say I'd like to just make a comment, if I may. It's a long time coming. I was part of the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania team who lobbied then another governor. And it was a long process. And there were some counties that were able to take advantage of the outcome. And I was really sad that Lebanon County was not among those who were chosen to go ahead before. So now that all 67 counties are allowed to be part of this program, if they so choose, it brings closure to the work that had been laid those many years ago. So I want to thank you for taking the time and researching it, talking with Brenda over at CCAP, and bringing it to us today. I think it's a long time coming, and I think it will benefit the citizens of Lebanon County in the end.
We think so too, and I think one of the benefits we have in our county, being a smaller county, is our departments all work with each other. We interact with each other. If if not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. There are no issues of control. We do truly view ourselves as partners in serving the community, so we don't see any money grab going on among our departments. And fortunately, and maybe even more important for us, is we have commissioners who have been supportive of our recommendations for funding shifts, or funding new programs, or participating in new programs like this. So we think it'll work very well for us. I do want to make it clear that it is not our total budget that's eligible to be shifted. There are certain line items within each of our budgets that can be shifted, but there are plenty of opportunities for us to manage that money in a way that better serves our community.
And if I could, just an example of our budget would be probably in the amount of between $200,000 and $250,000. That would be included in all this. So in the event we don't spend that on drug and alcohol services, we could shift it to other need areas.
So if you had that 70,000 and you were under a block grant, could you have supplemented something within your own budget as opposed to helping?
No, that money, if I was a block grant,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
If I was over in another area,
Or
I
short.
could have.
Okay.
But if everything else was equal, and I still had that $70,000 was a plus, then I could turn to Kevin or Phyllis and say, hey, do you have needs that aren't being met? Are you over budget in any areas? I don't know if this is accurate or not, but maybe I could have shared it between the two of them, the departments. So.
It also saves the state money because it costs a lot of money to return the check, to process that, to review everything that's been submitted, to make those submissions. I mean, the paperwork involved in all that on the state's end, and then finally cut another check and send it out. It's going to save them time and money and us time and money in the long run. I think it's a win-win for
I
everybody.
think the state took their savings already.
They with the cut, the 10% cut.
Yeah, they did.
Any talk, is it too early to tell how the funding's gonna be for you folks with the block grant program?
I mean, we had seen the governor's initial budget, and it looks good for our department, but of course, there's not been a final budget yet, so we don't know how that'll play out.
Yeah, I would say CCAP's been the same way. They've represented it kind of as, as far as human services go and what's been proposed. It's just, hopefully it stays where it is.
Wait and see.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a couple things.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have three things, and primarily for you, Kevin. Well, this first is for all of you. Do you monitor this quarterly? In other words, when do you ultimately realize that when you're over or under in some of these, you make that reconciliation of shifting the money around? Is that just an end of the fiscal year, or is this something you look at quarterly to see where you stand? Do you know?
As far as I understand, the state has not offered any clear guidelines on that. It's, again, up to us to use locally, and I think we're gonna have to consult with each other, the further we go into the year, and say, how are you how are you doing at this point, and try to do it in such a way that we have time to make the shifts.
Okay.
But also in a way that we can, again, utilize dollars here rather than send them back. But
Okay,
And
but it doesn't dictate how you do that. That's,
No.
again, that's a
Not
local,
yet.
they're putting all of this in your hands.
I mean, I'm currently quarterly meeting with my fiscal person to see where we're at with spending, where we're at with budget, how much of the budget we spent, what areas are high, what areas are low. So I would assume at some point, the three of us would have that conversation after we met with our respective fiscal people. Just, I think quarterly would probably be the best. I don't know if there's any rules or what, but so you don't get stuck and you're at the end and it's a mad scramble.
Right, okay.
And of course, if I may, as you know, drug and alcohol and our office have the same fiscal person, so the fiscal departments will be keeping an eye on both of us at the same time with that in mind, and consulting with Phyllis.
Okay. Are you leaving a clean copy for us of the letter?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have one. Yeah.
Okay.
Your department has had waiting lists in some areas. Do you see this as you be able to address some of those shifting funds, do you believe? Or those some of the categories that you're hoping to?
I mean,
make
that's
up?
what we hope we can do. The problem is, and again, we'll have to see how it plays out, if you have somebody on a waiting list and you begin providing services to them for that fiscal year, or you can have the funds to keep them there the following year. You hope you do, but we see that as a possibility of at least getting someone into a program that's been on a waiting list.
And then lastly, any sense of whether or not this will affect county support? Decrease county support, or is it too early to, or is it more likely to go toward services first that are not supported by the county, I guess?
And speaking for myself, my primary goal is to provide more and better services to the community, but I'm also hoping that we can reduce county match, which is, thanks to the county commissioners, they've helped us in providing what I often call overmatch, and we can reduce some of that, which is, what it really is deficit spending on some of those services. We're hoping, we can bring that more into a line.
Obviously, that's another one that's on the table when you're reallocating. Okay.
Were there other county agencies that could go in on this block grant with you, or is it just?
It's just the three of us.
Okay.
And prior forms of the Human Services Block Grant in the earlier, in fact, up till this time, children and youth could have been involved as well,
Yeah.
but that was removed
Okay.
from the plan.
Like an aging number?
And he's right, aging was part of that as well. Yes, you're correct. Aging was in there too, and they.
Was there
pulled
any
out.
rationale why they were removed?
I've never heard even
I haven't either,
a
that's why I
thought.
wondered.
No, I don't know what that was.
Also move to approve the block grant system for Lebanon County with Human Services at the state level.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we send paperwork for the inclusion of block grant. Any questions further? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side, same sign, so moved. Thank you.
Were you opposed?
No.
Oh.
Thank you.
He normally lets us vote, but he's in such a hurry.
I thought you voted against it, I'm like.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
support.
folks.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
This is for